the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. The meeting will please come to order. We do have posting in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Codes amending known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. At this time, any members of the public may speak for 5 minutes. Anyone? Okay. If not, then we'll go to item number 1 to approve the minutes of the April 19th regular meeting. This says March.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
We need to change that to April on the minutes.
Way past that.
Which one was doing?
It says March, but let's change that to April. 19th.
Should that Commissioner Daniels, should that first one been on there, and then should that be taken off and then the second one put on there? But he stated that he didn't want to be the one that was selling the stuff.
The motion was withdrawn, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So, number 8, the first motion that was made by Commissioner Daniels is withdrawn. If you look at that next dark bold, right after that first one, it says Commissioner Daniels and Commissioner Bridge withdrew the motion and the second.
Well, it should have loved that it had already get carried.
Oh, yes.
So if it carries, then we withdraw it. I don't know.
Okay, the carry just needs to be corrected. You just
Take out
put withdrawn.
the all I and
That's
motion
correct.
carried.
There you go.
All in favor, aye. Number 2 is budget transfers and amendments. meeting in April, this is for the second meeting in April.
This was the first one we just approved.
No, that was the second.
Which one, this one?
That's April the fifth, if you look at, on the first page.
First meeting.
Yeah,
Have these minutes ever been approved?
I believe they were approved last time.
I'm not sure.
First
If
meeting
you
in
look
April
at
is
number
in.
one, on the minutes that we approved today, April 19th meeting, if you look at number one, it says approved minutes of April 5th regular meeting. Now, why we got that later, I don't know.
Well, I had someone that came to me about the minutes on this, the minutes that we did, that we approved.
Uh-huh.
And down there on number 9, on the fifth, these minutes here, discuss and consider services maintenance contract.
Uh-huh.
And I moved to go out for quotes. And then it was with the group, I went through the motion. So we just went out for, they were asking how we did it. So I'm assuming,
Rather than quotes or bids, they were just
quotes we were done.
proposals from everyone, rather than going out for official quotes. I guess.
I still remember.
Mr. White, once they get approved, y'all are giving the final approval ones back to you, once they've been approved. They're putting your boxes to know that they have been approved.
Even if there were no changes.
Yes, they're mailed out every time, or put in your boxes every time.
All right, thanks.
Any discussion on the budget line transfers? Any questions? No, is there a motion?
I move to pay the budget transfers.
Approve those? Don't put those in everybody's box when you put the, these,
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the budget transfers and amendments. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 3 is to approve and pay the bills. Also, Karen, the bills, scheduled bills that are to be paid, we put it in everybody's box, but if there's an update or add-on or whatever, you put that in your box also.
Well, this morning, I
Well,
don't
I know there was one that was
Yes,
a last
uh-huh,
minute.
But
other than
yes,
that-
uh-huh.
Any discussion on the bills?
Make a motion to approve the bills.
You got the camera out of your phone.
Technology, that's correct.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Any I have a report from the tax collections for April. Auditor's office for the monthly report of March. And based on that, I have the treasurer's monthly report, which will be posted on the website. And that is for March. And a report from the treasurer's office on investments and interest earned. And this is the first quarter. For the first quarter of March. And the second quarter is the anticipated funds of the second quarter. Well,
It's the fiscal year, second quarter.
oh, okay. Yeah. January, March, gotcha. The second quarter of the fiscal year, which would be January to March. We also have a personnel status summary, which shows the 5 open positions. Are there any other reports? If not, is there a motion to accept these reports?
I make a motion that we accept the reports.
All in favor, aye. Anything else? No, there's no. Okay. It's going, and these reports, if you want to review them on the clerk's office, and you can certainly review those if you'd like to. Item number 5 is to consider selecting the county depository for the county's public funds, trust funds, in the possession of the county clerk and the district clerk's registry funds. And these will be open today.
Judge Grant, it says on my original proposal that we did that at 10 a.m. Just in case if any of the banks want to be here.
All right.
When we open, so.
We will come back to that at 10 o'clock.
The TBC, the Texas State.
We will go to item number 6, to explain the county attorney's intervention program.
Thank you all for the time. This doesn't necessarily require any action by the court today, but I want to give you a heads up about some plans that I have in mind on how to run my office and dispose of some misdemeanor offenses. The thing that I want the court to be aware of and why I'm presenting this is there's some cash flow or some money flow that's going to be coming into my office because of this program. And so let me start off with what this program does. And also say that we're one of the only counties in the surrounding area that doesn't have a program like this. Where I came from Anderson County, we implemented a pretrial intervention program that worked very well. And what it is a program for somebody that is young, has no criminal history, and has a charge, what I find to be a lower level misdemeanor charge. Be it a possession of marijuana under 2 ounces, or a driving while license invalid. We get a lot of both, right? Both of those charges come through our court system quite a bit. And what this program would allow me to do is allow that younger person or person that hasn't been in trouble before to enter into this program so my office can monitor them, give them drug tests, may give them community service, and keep them on the hook for 3 to 6 months, depending on who it is, to see if they get in any more trouble. If they don't get in any more trouble, what my office would do at that point is dismiss the case. And this would allow that person to move past that offense, keep their job, right? Which is one of my main concerns with somebody that hasn't been in trouble before, is to not have the conviction on their record so they can keep their job and move forward and become a productive member of society and maintain that. And then B, we get a lot of first-time offenders that they're arrested, they're thrown in jail, and that right there scares them enough to not reoffend. And so basically at that point in time, the job has been done on my end to make sure that they understand they are in the wrong. We're going to monitor them to make sure they don't get in trouble anymore, but then the case will be dismissed. And that's what this pretrial intervention program would be. And we would select, we've worked with Judge Grant, and we've talked about some cases in court, and I've already put some people on this program. Now, what I think would be the main concern for the Commissioner's Court today is they would pay a fee to enter into the program. Now, the legislature allows us up to $500 fee for them to go into a program like this. We're charging anywhere from $300 to $400 depending on the offense. So we have some Class Cs that appeal up to county court. Those would be $300. Class Bs would be $350. And any Class As, I don't see us putting a lot of Class As misdemeanors on this program, but those would be $400. Now that money would come directly to my office because we are the ones monitoring them. We're sending them out for drug tests. We're doing the paperwork. We're doing some things of that nature. Now, for the court's understanding, the legislature really limits me on how that money is spent. And it can only be spent to maintain the PTI program. Now, as we sit here right now before the new budget, I don't plan on spending any of that money. And I'm going to come to the Commissioner's Court during the budget time and most likely ask for either a full-time person, depending on how many funds that we can bring in, or potentially a part-time person to come in and pay them through that PTI fund that we're depositing into to run this PTI program. And let me say this as well. This program will allow my office, again, we only have 2 attorneys, right? We deal from everything from JP court speeding tickets all the way up to capital murder. It allows us to dispose of some of these misdemeanor offenses quickly and in a reasonable way so we can pursue things that need to be pursued. Go after, spend more time on our felony docket. Go to trial. As Judge Grant knows, we've already set some DWI trials starting in August. We have 5 or 6 that we need to get through. And so for me in my office, this is another tool in my tool belt to allow me to dispose of cases and go after the ones that I think need to be pursued in a harsher degree. And again, just for everybody's understanding, everybody behind me's understanding, is I don't plan on putting DWIs on this program. I don't plan on doing anything of that nature. This is just, for right now, driving while license invalid and possession of marijuana under 2 ounces when somebody does not have any criminal history whatsoever. And again, most times you find that these people are anywhere from 18 years old to 25 years old, depending. And so that's the program in a nutshell, and that's what I'm going to be asking the Commissioner's Court, most likely coming up on the new budget at that point in time when I have these funds in office, to be able to spend that to monitor this PTI program. Does anybody have any general questions about the program? Again, no action is required today. I just want to give the court a heads up about what I'm doing and my thoughts on that program.
I think it's a good program, especially for kids who has a first offense. I really don't think they need to be in the system. I think it's going to free up a lot of time for the court. So I really support it.
And we're gonna prosecute aggressively on cases that need to be prosecuted aggressively. And some of these, fall into a category that you can dispose of and keep them monitored. And if they don't reoffend, they don't reoffend. And they can be scared about spending a night in the county jail, that we can put them through a task of whether it's multiple drug tests or community service or things of that nature, and then move on.
Kind of like taking the money and if you leave another employee, that money will be used to pay that employee.
Yes, sir.
Part-time, full-time?
Don't know yet. And let me be clear, we just, obviously we're finding our feet about what type of funds. I mean, I know Anderson County, a bigger county, brought in $30,000 to $40,000 a year on this program. Obviously, I don't think it's going to reach that sort of height. And they were a little bit broader in their program. They put more people on it. I'm thinking anywhere from probably $10,000 to $20,000, so I could see it being a part-time person at this point in time. But again, I don't know that for sure.
I think it's a good deal, but I guess I've got a 2-ounce deal on marijuana side. I mean, if you're 18, you ought to know better than this one. Give a chance to find it. I wasn't too keen.
Yes, sir, and I understand that. A lot of counties, and honestly, we'll see how the legislature comes out. I may not be able to prosecute those, period. Obviously, some counties are going to citation and release at that point in time, is issuing a citation. And at this point in time, I feel like I'm along for the ride, I guess you could say. And this state's going, and this country's going in a certain direction on those charges. And it's kind of the flow of things. And so, and like I said, we won't be putting anybody on there that has an offense before. And like I said, we're going to be doing things that they'd be doing on probation anyway. They'd be doing drug tests. They'd be doing some things like that to make sure that they stay clean. And so I don't want anybody to get the impression that I'm just letting them go. That's not the case. I'm giving them the opportunity to say I screwed up, and now I'm ready to get my life back in order and keep my job and move forward past this. And so by no means are we going to be light on them, but this allows them the opportunity to say I screwed up, and guess what? If they don't want to come to that realization, they're going to reoffend while they're on the program, and we can come back around and prosecute that possession of marijuana the way we would, put them on straight probation, maybe give them county jail time, things like that. So our options are still out there to prosecute them the way that they're being prosecuted before, and for people that aren't first offenders. And so this is, like I said, just another tool in the tool belt to give them the opportunity to say, I messed up.
Say you give them the 6 months, do they check in with you, like probation?
Yes and no. We call them about random drug tests. So we have them in the system, we have their contact information. Here's where, right now, it's a pretty big burden on my office. And it's fine, we're able to deal with it. But having a PTI coordinator, that would be the person that would keep these people in check and say, okay, I need to call X person to make sure they go do a drug test. And what we say is, when we call them, there's places to get drug tests all across the nation. And so right now, if we have somebody going through up and down 45, right, that goes to school in New York City, we can have them on the PTI program. We can give them a call and say, you need to take a drug test within 12 hours, and they need to go to a facility to get a drug test and send it in. And then we get to see at that point whether they're clean or not. And so yes, we have contact with them. They're not going to report necessarily like probation on a monthly basis, but we're going to have contact with these people moving forward to make sure that they're doing the things that they promised that they would do. And that's what my office is doing right now, and that's what potentially a part-time person would come in, look at the list, and make sure to contact those people and put them through the tasks that they need to do.
Let me ask you one other question. Let's say they complete your program a year later, they offend again, they back before you. What would be the process then?
Well, the process then would be, first I'll not put them on not offer them a PTI, because it would show on their record still an arrest for possession of marijuana, for instance. It would show an arrest, and at that point in time, they wouldn't be eligible for the PTI program. So at that point in time, it would be a probation offer, a deferred offer, potential jail time offer, depending on what the charge is. And so like I said, I'm limiting my program to really try to focus in on people that may want to get their life straight. And if they don't want to get their life straight, guess what? We're going to be able to prosecute them and move forward on them. And here, on a positive note, hopefully they're on my program for 3 to 6 months, and I never hear their name again, right? They go on and they say I messed up, and then aren't in the court system anymore.
We have a lot of driving while licensing now. Once people have issues with DBS and those fees, it's just
And Judge is setting up on a quick rant, I don't mean to take up all of y'all's time, but at DWL, driving while licensed and valid, a lot of it comes from surcharges from the state. They have to pay $3,000 over 3 years, or let's say. Well, they don't have the money to pay it, or they make the wrong decisions on whether to pay it or not. Well, then they're driving without a license. So we get them. Well, if we give them another conviction, more surcharges go on them. And they're not going to pay them. They're going to continue driving without a license. And I'm not saying it's right to drive without a license. Obviously, they need to get it right. But it's this vortex that we see on a monthly basis of the same people coming through. And the more convictions you give them, the more surcharges they have, the less likely they are to get their license back. And we just deal with it.
and that's one of the requirements, is that they do get it.
Yes. Yes, that's the thing, is we're trying to cut to the chase and say, if you don't have your license on the program, you need to get your license back. That way we don't have that charge come up anymore.
Anything else? If not, we're going to go to number 7, which is to discuss the application for the victim coordinator and liaison grant application.
So the past month and a half or so, I've been working on a grant application through the AG's office for a victims coordinator. As most of y'all know, the legislature loves to give us unfunded mandates, right? Things that we're supposed to do, but they don't give us any money to do. My main hurdle in my office is the burden that I have to keep victims informed. And when we say victims, we don't mean victims just of violent crime, right? We mean theft victims. If there's a criminal mischief, on somebody's property, there's a criminal trespass, assaults, obviously, and these victims range, again, from Class D misdemeanors all the way up to felonies. My office has to get in touch with those people and send out letters to make sure they understand what charges are pending, and then when they get in touch with us, we have to keep them updated on court dates, plea deals, and as you can see with our number of cases, that's a lot of people. And it's a mandate that I don't necessarily agree with the legislator on giving to us without funding. But luckily for me is the AG's office provides a grant for a victims coordinator. Somebody that would come in and handle that specific issue, staying in touch with victims and letting them know what is going on. Now, this application, the AG's office allows from $20,000 to $42,000 of salary. They allow for equipment, all sorts of things. The grant, as I have filled out, it was for $35,000 of salary. It's a 2-year grant, so I wouldn't have to reapply for 2 years if they give me the grant. And again, luckily, some states like Hot Cog through our Council of Government and things of that nature, it's a match program where they give us 80% and county may pay for 20 or something like that. The AG's office, that's not the deal. They give you full 100% of the salary that you're going to give it to you. They give you the full salary. And so the way I see it and the way I've looked at it is I don't believe it would cause any extra burden on the county itself if they granted the grant. Like I said, I've asked for $35,000, a little bit over that because I'm going to one conference, so it's like 35,250 or something along those lines. But again, for everybody's understanding here, it's on a match program, and I don't believe anything would come from the county itself. And again, this is a job that my office is already doing. We're already printing out the paper. We're already sending out the correspondence. So there's not anything necessarily extra equipment-wise or paper-wise or anything like that. It would just be an extra person to be able to get that job done. I have no idea whether they're going to grant it or not. Like I said, I filled it out. The last thing, and what I'm asking for the court today, first to approve me going forward with trying to get that grant, and then secondly, there's a resolution of governing body form. I filled that out. If it is approved, then I would need that signed. by Judge Grant and approved by the Commissioner's Court. Like I said, I think it'd be great for my office. I don't think it would be any extra burden on the county itself. And let me say this as well, kind of along with the PTI program. This is avenues a lot of offices around this area have pursued and have extra people in their office basically for free on the county's dime that the state is paying for. Anderson County, for instance, has 2 people full-time in their office that deal with victim services that's paid through the AG's office. And so I would like to pursue it. Like I said, I think it'd be a huge help for my office, and I don't see any extra burden from the county side.
So at this time, we would need a motion to approve, you going forward with the application.
Yes, ma'am. And the application's done, but this is
I'm
a,
looking for wording, yes.
yes, ma'am. That is the correct wording. And
The resolution, which would allow you to go forward with the application.
yes, ma'am.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Will you make a copy and give to County Clerk?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all for your time.
Item number 8 is an amendment to the LexisNexis contract. This is for the law library. We have one in place and it is going to expire. So this is, they call it amendment. It could be called an extension or whatever, but nonetheless, we were, for years past, we had only the books in the library and we would get updates all the time that had to be filed in those books. But now we have gone to a computer system, so we don't have to go through all of that process. We can see the most updated information on those computers. And it's an additional $20 a month. They've gone from $400 a month to $420 a month. And this is funded through fees that are collected on cases that are filed. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries. Item number 9 is the text dot contract for project delivery fee distribution. We had gotten, say we've only gotten a request from GrantWorks. And this is to redistribute the fees per the road distribution on the TIP program. It's the same total that had been granted before, but since people have changed the amounts that they spend on different roads, then the fee distribution has to be changed to match those roads in order for TxDOT to approve those. And where is this? Since the fee allocation changed throughout the project, TxDOT asked them to submit a redistribution. And if not, then they'll have to go back to TxDOT and see how they can resolve it. But I know you changed some roads, I believe, and who else changed roads?
I've changed it in a long time.
Well,
I mean, we all changed something from the very onset.
from the very beginning, so that's what they're doing now, is updating those changes. I'm gonna look at the list. Change. It's the same total, the initial fee was $59,449. It changed in August of 16, and now, the update is for April of 17, it's still $59,449. It's just changing, like I said, the allocation on the roads. That's a sum total when I go there. And those fees do come out of the, fund funds that are coming from taxes.
So it doesn't cost the county anything.
It comes out of that loose grant funds. And actually, these were, you remember when that started, this big program started?
About
3 years
3 or
ago.
4 years ago. I think we've gotten all our money and,
Well, what probably be, if they're still doing information on that, they ought to pay us.
they
Well,
have.
we that they precinct two, some other precinct in the paper.
Well, I think you just finished yours
I'm
up
through with
recently.
mine. I
haven't
don't
you?
know that. I'm not.
How long ago did you finish?
Once ago. I don't know, that part is done by the office, all we do is keep the records.
And so I'm assuming that they are submitting their fees and they wanted this change, submitting to Texas.
I think we need to make a motion to do that. One of the applicants, but not going to get some money.
I see.
All in favor, aye? Motion carried. Item number 10 is to discuss the Southwestern Bell telephone damage claim, and that's increasing for.
This is something I think that happened like in, I think like in 15 or sometime. And I talked to somebody and they said that we would, it was in our right of way, and if we would send them something saying that thing was in our right of way, then they would drop that. I don't know who that needs to come from. And we get these things all the time.
We do.
But I don't know, is there somebody that sends those? This is some collection agency, it's really something from the county.
We routinely get those, not routinely, but oftentimes, and under the utilities code, the county's exempt if they are to the proper depth. The utilities to the proper depth, which is 24 inches. And so why they send us these notifications, I don't know. We've gotten them over the years. Routinely, we usually don't even respond. They just go away because once they do a little research, they realize that we're not liable for it. So do you want us to send a letter?
If we just send something to that collection agency and just say that we're
Well,
exempt.
if you'll give the information to Pilar, she will send the letter.
I did.
And was it to the depth of 24 inches or less? Is that the issue?
This was a pedestal. It was in the right of way.
Okay, if it's a pedestal and they don't maintain it, then I think we're probably going to go send them a letter. Do we need to carry on that? This discussion. Is that a motion? Is that a motion?
We just need to discuss, I just want to make sure we discuss it so we know what to do. If you want me to make one, I'll sure make one.
We'll go to item number 11, consider the owner authorizing Memorial Day fireworks sales. The thing about the authorizing the fireworks sales is we need to authorize it before the 15th. Now, we don't know what will happen between now and then, but there is a little caveat that is in the order that says that if the Texas Fire Service determines drought conditions exist in the county, then we can, this order would expire. So it strictly depends on the conditions at the time. But if we don't authorize it now, before the 15th, then they won't be able to authorize it. But we will call before that time comes to verify what the fire service says the conditions are. We have a motion and a second, all in favor, aye. Motion carried. And item number 12, approve precinct 1 to sell the following equipment. Mack truck, Ford tractor, and shredder.
Sale and split the bid.
Well, you know, we we say sell because it may be for bids, you may determine you want to put it out on the internet auction service, but just allowing the sale and you can work with the auditor as to how you want to try to do that.
I like that motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor, aye? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 13 is approved contracts with the volunteer fire departments. We have one with Turbin, and we have one with Dunn. And I believe that is the last one.
Make a motion to approve the contracts.
All in favor, aye? Motion carried. Item 14, burn rate.
First order one, you see?
There is no motion, and we will not have a burn ban. All right, we'll go to item number 15, which is special road use agreements. You want to say what road?
This is on County Road, 360.
Is there a line?
25,000.
Are you making a motion?
To accept the road use agreement.
All right, do we have a second? All in favor, aye? Anybody else?
What about the continuation, do you want to accept this one, Mr. Arnold? Do you want to, do the continuation certificate? Okay, oversized permit?
This has been in effect for years. The crowd excavation is whole side for me, 25,000. Been there since 2005.
Is that a motion? All in favor, aye? Any opposed? No. Motion carried. Anyone else? Move to number 16, bonds and education certificates. Okay, if we have none, we're going to take a recess until 10 o'clock, and we'll come back and open the bonds. Bids. Bids.